My wife loves Christmas the way some people love going to the gym. Loudly, publicly, and mostly for the stories. 2 days before Christmas Eve, she stood in the kitchen, holding her phone like a microphone, filming our tree like it was a celebrity. "Okay," she said, smiling at the screen. "Christmas is about family, about being together, about warmth." Then she turned to me, still recording, and hissed out of the corner of her mouth, "Stop breathing so loud." I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just kept placing ornaments on the tree. "Sure," I said. "I'll try breathing quietly. Maybe I'll do it in another room. For the family values." She ended the recording and gave me that look, half annoyed, half proud that she had a husband who could be used as background decoration. "Don't start," she said. "I'm not starting," I told her. "I'm continuing. There's a difference." Her name was Jenna. She had a talent for turning any holiday into a performance and any disagreement into a personality flaw of mine. If I didn't clap hard enough, I was emotionally unavailable. If I asked a question, I was insecure. If I didn't ask a question, I was checked out. Christmas was her Super Bowl, and I was the unpaid intern. She kept talking while she walked around the living room, pointing at things like a general preparing for war. "We're doing it right this year," she said. "No drama, no weird vibes. Family, family, family." "Got it," I said. "Family, like the mafia. You can't leave." She ignored that, because ignoring me was her cardio. "You're going to my parents' place tomorrow afternoon," she said. "Don't be late. Please don't do your quiet mood thing." "My quiet mood thing?" I repeated. "Yeah, like when you sit there and have a face." "I'm sorry," I said. "I'll bring my other face. The cheerful one. The one that says I'm fine while my soul files paperwork." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might do a full rotation and come back with new opinions. That evening, I was in the kitchen making gingerbread dough. I wasn't even doing it because I loved it. I was doing it because she loved posting it. And if I didn't participate, I'd get labeled the Grinch, which was her favorite lazy insult. She walked in with her coat on and her keys in hand. "I'm gonna go out for a bit," she said. "Where?" I asked, calm. She made a face like I asked her to recite the tax code. "Just out. A quick thing." "What kind of quick thing?" I asked. "Why are you interrogating me?" she snapped. "I'm asking one question," I said. "Interrogation is when I shine a lamp in your face and slide a photo across the table. I haven't even warmed up." She sighed dramatically like she was the only adult in a house full of toddlers. "It's a work thing," she said. "A small get-together, just for an hour." "On Christmas Eve?" I asked. "It's not a crime," she said. "Don't be weird." "I'm not being weird," I said. "I'm being organized. You know, like you taught me. Family values with a planner." She stepped closer and lowered her voice, like she was doing me a favor by explaining life. "Caleb," she said, "it's just a little thing. I'll be back early. We'll watch a movie. We'll do the cozy stuff. Are you happy now?" I looked at her for a second. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was more like a mental note, a quiet one. "Sure," I said. "Be safe." Her expression softened for half a second, like she expected me to beg her not to go. When I didn't, that softness disappeared. "Don't wait up," she said, and left. I kept rolling dough and told myself not to be paranoid. People went out. Couples had separate lives. That was normal. But there was something about the way she said, "Don't wait up," like it wasn't a suggestion, like it was an instruction. An hour passed, then 2. Around 9, my phone buzzed. "Jenna. Heavy snow. Roads are getting bad." I glanced out the window. Snow was falling, sure, but heavy snow was an exaggeration. In our city, people drove through worse conditions to get fast food at 2 a.m. Me. "Okay, do you need me to pick you up?" Her reply came fast. "Jenna. No, don't start. It's fine." Me. "I'm not starting. I'm offering. Big difference." Jenna. "It's safer to wait it out. I'll give it a little." I checked the weather app. It showed normal snow. I checked traffic. Cars were moving. I opened a delivery app out of curiosity because I'm petty in small, harmless ways. Delivering in 25 minutes. So the roads were bad for my wife, but apparently not for a guy on a scooter carrying ramen. I didn't text that. Not yet. Me. Okay. Keep me posted. Jenna. Stop being dramatic. I stared at that message and let out a short laugh. The kind you do when someone accuses you of a crime you didn't commit. Being dramatic. Right. I was alone in my living room with a gingerbread man missing an arm, and she was out somewhere, waiting out the snow. If anyone was dramatic, it was the cookie. I sat on the couch, the tree glowing in the corner. Stockings hanging, presents wrapped. The kind of scene people pay money to photograph. The kind of scene that makes you think everything is okay. And that was the problem. Everything looked okay, and nothing felt okay. At 10:30, I texted again. Any update? No response. At 11, I called. It rang, then voicemail. At 11:15, she texted, I'm fine. Reception is bad. Relax. Reception was bad. In a city where you could get 5 bars in the middle of a parking garage. Where are you exactly? Her typing bubble appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. At a friend's. Roads are bad. I'm not risking it. Which friend? That time she didn't answer. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. I wasn't shaking, I wasn't pacing, I wasn't screaming. That's not me. I just sat there and felt something cold spread slowly through my chest, like a message my body understood before my brain did. I looked at the tree again. The lights didn't flicker. The ornaments didn't move. The room was warm, quiet, and my wife wasn't in it. I called one more time, straight to voicemail. Either she declined it or her phone was off. Both options felt like a punch with good manners. No noise, just impact. I didn't blow up her phone. I didn't send 30 angry messages. That's what she expected. That would make it easy. She could turn it into a story. He's controlling. He freaked out. So I did the opposite. I texted one line. Okay, be safe. We'll talk tomorrow. I set my phone down, and that's when it hit me. She wasn't worried about the snow. She was worried about the conversation. I stayed on the couch until after midnight. I told myself 100 excuses. Maybe she really was stuck. Maybe she fell asleep. Maybe her friend lived far. Maybe I was overthinking. Then I realized something simple. If she wanted to come home, she would have come home. That thought didn't come with fireworks. It came with silence. At some point, I must have dozed off because I woke up with my neck twisted and a Christmas movie paused on the TV, the screen frozen on a smiling couple kissing under mistletoe. I stared at it for a second and said out loud, to nobody, "Good for you, buddy. Enjoy the fictional loyalty." My phone was in my hand before I fully sat up. No missed calls, no messages, nothing. It was Christmas morning. The tree lights were still on. The house smelled like cinnamon and disappointment, and my wife still wasn't home. Then my phone buzzed. Finally. A notification. Not from her, from someone else. A story tag. A photo. And my stomach dropped before I even opened it. Because I already knew, deep down, that the storm wasn't outside. It was in my marriage. I opened the notification slowly, like if I moved fast, the phone might bite me. It was a story from a guy named Mark, not a close friend. More like a knows everyone, comments fire emojis type. We'd met maybe twice, enough to recognize his living room. The photo was innocent if you were stupid. A fireplace, 2 champagne glasses on a low table, soft lighting, a throw blanket that looked expensive in a "this has never seen a washing machine" way. I zoomed in. Same city, same night, same dangerous snow. Funny how the apocalypse had such good lighting. I didn't throw my phone. I didn't swear. I just sat there, feeling that strange calm people get right before they accept something they were hoping wasn't true. I scrolled. Another story. Champagne bottle this time. 2 glasses filled. A caption. Snowed in. Snowed in. I laughed, out loud. Wow, I said to the empty room. Nature really did you a favor. I checked the weather again. Same as before. Light snow, roads open, Life continuing. I imagined her there. Jenna. Warm. Relaxed. Probably barefoot. Probably laughing at something stupid he said. Probably telling him how complicated things were at home. I stood up and stretched like a guy getting ready for work. All right, I said. Let's not embarrass ourselves. I didn't text her. I made coffee. That was the weird part. I made coffee like it was a normal morning, like my wife hadn't spent Christmas Eve trapped in another man's living room. I sat at the table and waited. Around noon, I heard the door. Keys. Familiar sound. Slow. No rush. No panic. Jenna walked in like someone coming back from the grocery store. Hey, she said casually, slipping off her coat. Hey, I replied. She froze for half a second, just enough to register surprise that I wasn't exploding. Her hair was fine. Her makeup was fine. She looked rested. That detail mattered. Sorry, she said, not sounding sorry. The roads were awful. Really, I said, not a question. She dropped her bag and sighed. I told you, it was safer to stay put. I nodded. Good call. Wouldn't want to die on Christmas. She frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said. Just appreciating survival. She walked into the living room, glanced at the tree, the couch. You slept out here? She asked. Yeah, I said. I didn't want to take the bed. Seemed symbolic. She ignored that. You could have texted more, she said. I smiled. You told me to relax. She crossed her arms. Why are you being like this? Like what? She walked into the living room, glanced at the tree, the couch. You slept out here? She asked. Yeah, I said. I didn't want to take the bed. Seemed symbolic. She ignored that. You could have texted more, she said. I smiled. You told me to relax. She crossed her arms. Why are you being like this? Like what? I leaned back in my chair. Okay, I said. Where were you? She hesitated. At a friend's. Which friend? Why does it matter? She snapped. Because I'm curious, I said. It's a new hobby, asking questions. She scoffed. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You always do this. You don't trust me. I nodded slowly. You're right, I said. I don't. Her eyes widened. What? I mean, based on available data, I continued calmly. Trust feels a little ambitious. She laughed sharply. Oh my God, you're unbelievable. Maybe, I said, but I'm also very observant. She started pacing. You're making this into something it's not. That's funny, I said, because it feels like something. She stopped and looked at me like I had personally offended her favorite influencer. You wouldn't understand, she said. There it is, I replied. That line. What line? The one where you say I wouldn't understand, so you don't have to explain. She threw her hands up. I didn't want to risk the road. What do you want from me? Honesty, I said. Wild request, I know. She stared at me, then laughed again. Louder this time. You're so insecure, she said. Do you hear yourself? I leaned forward. Careful, I said. Name-calling is usually where people go when facts get uncomfortable. She shook her head. This is why I didn't come home, she said. Because you turn everything into an issue. I blinked. Oh, I said. So this is my fault. Yes, she snapped. If you were more confident, we wouldn't be having this conversation. There it was, the gaslight, bright, warm, holiday-themed. I smiled. Interesting, I said. So your solution to my lack of confidence was staying at another man's house? Her face tightened. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, I said. Your absence did. She stepped closer. You're being controlling. By sitting quietly on my couch? I asked. I should teach a class. She looked away. You're ruining Christmas, she muttered. I stood up. No, I said calmly. You did. I'm just not pretending it's snow. That's when she said it. The line that burned itself into my memory. You don't understand what it's like to feel desired. There was no anger in her voice, just superiority. I nodded once. Okay, I said. That tells me everything. She blinked. That's it? She asked. You're not going to say anything? I already heard it, I replied. She looked confused, off balance. I'm going to take a walk, I said. Clear my head. She smirked. Run away, she said. I paused at the door. No, I said. I'm stepping back. Outside, the snow was light, peaceful, barely an inconvenience. I laughed quietly to myself. The storm wasn't outside. It never was. I walked longer than I planned, not because I was sad, because my brain finally shut up for 5 minutes, and that felt expensive. Snow crunched under my boots. Cars passed. People laughed somewhere. Christmas kept going like nothing happened, which was honestly rude. When I got back, Jenna was on the couch, scrolling her phone like a teenager who just survived a grounding. You calm now? She asked without looking up. Very, I said. Nature fixed me, she snorted. Good, because I'm not doing this drama today. Same, I said. I retired from drama last night. She finally looked at me. You're being sarcastic. Yeah, I said. It's my festive mode. She stood up. I'm going to shower, she said. And then we're going to my parents. Please don't embarrass me. I smiled. I've been practicing not embarrassing you for years. I'm basically a professional. She paused, narrowed her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'll wear the sweater you like, I said. The one that makes me look emotionally available. She walked away muttering something about my attitude. I stayed in the living room and picked up her bag, not to snoop, just to move it off the floor. Her phone buzzed. I didn't grab it. I didn't need to, because the name popped up on the screen. Mark. Just a preview. Just enough. Had fun last night. Text me when you're free. No heart emojis. No fireworks. Casual. Comfortable. That was worse. I put the phone back exactly where it was. 10 minutes later, she came out, towel on her head, glowing like someone who had slept very well. You ready? She asked. Yep, I said. Let's go celebrate family. In the car, she talked non-stop. About her mom's cooking, about traffic, about how tired she was. I nodded. I answered when required. I drove. Jenna fixed her hair in the mirror. Please, she said, don't do anything stupid. I smiled. Define stupid. You know exactly what I mean? Actually, I said, pulling into the driveway. I don't, but I'm excited to find out. She shot me a look. This is Christmas, she hissed. Not the time. I nodded. Agreed. Christmas is about family. You said that. She didn't reply. Inside, everything smelled like food and nostalgia. Her mom hugged us both, smiling too wide, like someone who had already decided this was a good year. Merry Christmas, she said. You made it. Barely, I said. Weather was brutal. Jenna's fingers dug into my arm. Her dad laughed from the living room. Brutal? He said. What weather? It's been normal all day. I shrugged. Depends who you ask. Jenna cleared her throat loudly. Mom, do you need help in the kitchen? No, her mom waved her off. Sit, relax. You look tired, honey. Jenna smiled. Long night. Her dad raised an eyebrow. Long night? He repeated. On Christmas Eve, I took a sip of wine. Yeah, I said. Very seasonal. Jenna shot me a warning look. Dinner started normally. Too normally. The kind of normal that feels rehearsed. Her brother talked about work. Her mom complained about neighbors. Her dad poured more wine. Then her mom looked at us. So, she said warmly, you two seem quiet. Everything okay? Jenna opened her mouth immediately. Yes, she said. We're just tired. I smiled. Tired, I echoed. Snow does that. Her dad frowned. Snow? Jenna kicked me under the table. I winced dramatically. Wow, I said. Okay, Message received. Her dad leaned back. "What snow?" he asked. "It barely dusted." "Well," I said. Apparently it was enough to trap a married woman overnight. The table went quiet. Not explosive quiet. Curious quiet. Jenna laughed too fast. "He's joking," she said. "Ignore him." I looked at her dad. "Let me ask you something," I said casually. "Hypothetical." Her dad nodded. "Sure." "If your wife texted you on Christmas Eve," I continued, "said she was stuck somewhere because of a snowstorm, would you just go to bed?" Her dad didn't answer immediately. He looked confused. "No," he said slowly. "I'd go get her, or tell her to come home." "Even if the roads were bad?" I asked. He snorted. "I've driven through worse for less." Jenna's smile was frozen now. "I don't see how this is relevant," she said sharply. I ignored her. "And if she stayed the night somewhere else?" I added. "Didn't come home at all?" Her dad's expression changed. "That wouldn't be acceptable," he said flatly. Her mom looked between us. "Jenna?" she asked. "What is he talking about?" Jenna slammed her fork down gently. Too gently. "Can we not do this right now?" she said. "He's being dramatic." Her dad didn't look away from me. "Did you not come home last night?" he asked. Jenna stood up. "This is not the place," she said. "You're embarrassing me." I finally looked at her. "No," I said calmly. "I'm embarrassing your story." Her mom frowned. "You told me you were home early," she said. Jenna's face flushed. "I didn't want to worry you." Her dad's jaw tightened. "So you stayed somewhere else," he said. "On Christmas Eve, and blamed the weather." Jenna snapped. "I said it wasn't safe." Her dad shook his head. "Snow is not an excuse," he said. "Especially not for abandoning your marriage." That word hung there. Abandoning. Jenna looked around the table, realized she wasn't in control anymore. "This is exactly why I didn't want to come," she snapped at me. "You always do this. You twist things." I shrugged. "I didn't twist anything. I just repeated it." She grabbed her coat. "I'm not staying for this interrogation." Her mom looked shocked. "Sit down," she said. "No," Jenna said. "I'm done." She turned to me. "Are you happy now?" I smiled politely. "No," I said. "But I'm no longer confused." She stormed out. The door slammed. Silence again. Her dad exhaled slowly. "You want to explain?" he asked me. I nodded. "Later," I said. "Right now, I think she needs air." He stared at the door, then back at me. "Snow," he muttered. "Unbelievable." I finished my wine. Christmas was officially ruined. But for the first time in weeks, the room felt honest. The drive home was quieter than before. Not the polite silence, the radioactive kind. Jenna stared out the window, arms crossed so tight she looked like she was trying to fold herself into a different reality. "Well," she said finally, "that was impressive." "Thank you," I replied. "I don't usually perform without rehearsal." "You humiliated me," she snapped. I nodded once. "In front of people who raised you?" "Yes." "You had no right," she said. "That was private." "Private?" I repeated. "You stayed overnight somewhere else on Christmas Eve. That stopped being private when you didn't come home." She laughed sharply. "Oh my God, listen to you. You sound insane." "Still calmer than you," I said. She turned to me. "You knew exactly what you were doing." "Yes," I said. "That's the difference between us." We got home. She went straight to the kitchen, grabbed a glass, poured wine like it owed her money. "This is why I didn't want to talk," she said. "You turn everything into a trial." "You mean a conversation with witnesses?" I replied. She slammed the glass down. "I told you the roads were bad. And your father told you snow isn't an excuse," I said. "I'm inclined to trust the man who's been married 30 years. "That's not fair," she said quickly. "No," I replied. "It's inconvenient." She paced. "You think you're so clever, sitting there with your little jokes." "They're not jokes," I said. "They're coping mechanisms," she pointed at me. "You enjoyed that. You enjoyed putting me on the spot." I shook my head. No, I enjoyed watching you run out of explanations. She froze. Nothing happened, she said. You're blowing this up. Okay, I said. Then let's do something simple. She narrowed her eyes. I don't like simple. Your phone, I said. Right now. Her face changed instantly. No. I smiled. That was fast. You don't get to go through my phone, she snapped. That's controlling. I didn't say I'd go through it, I replied. I said show me. No, she repeated louder. I nodded. Then we're done talking, she laughed. You can't seriously be acting like this. I'm not acting, I said. I'm deciding. She stared at me. You're really going to throw everything away over one night? I leaned against the counter. No, I said. I'm throwing it away over the lies that came with it. She scoffed. You don't even know anything. I raised an eyebrow. That's funny, I said, because your phone seems to know plenty. She turned away. This is exactly why I needed space, she muttered. From what? I asked. Accountability? She spun back around. You're not perfect, she snapped. You're distant. You're cold. You don't make me feel wanted. There it is, I said calmly. The character assassination. It's not an assassination if it's true, she said. I stepped closer, still calm. Then explain something to me, I said. If I'm so terrible, why lie? She hesitated. I didn't want drama. No, I said. You didn't want consequences. She shook her head. You're twisting everything. Still not twisting, I said. Just lining things up. I gestured toward the living room. You said Christmas is about family, I continued. About being together. Yes, she snapped. And then you chose not to come home, I said. That's the part you don't want to talk about. She looked away. I needed to feel desired, she said quietly. Just for once. I nodded slowly. Okay, I said. Then be honest. She looked back at me. About what? About who? I said. Silence, heavy, thick, uncomfortable. Say his name, I added. She didn't. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes flicked to the side. That was enough. I know, I said. You don't have to confirm it. You don't know anything, she whispered. I know you weren't alone, I replied. I know Snow didn't trap you. And I know you didn't want to come home. She laughed bitterly. So what? You're just going to leave? I'll think about what to do about it, I said. She looked confused. What does that mean? It means, I said, grabbing my jacket, I'm done chasing answers you don't want to give. She stared at me like she expected anger, tears, begging. She got none of it. Where are you going? She asked. For a drive, I said. Roads seem fine. Her mouth opened, closed. I paused at the door. One more thing, I said. If you're going to lie, don't insult the weather. It deserves better. I left her standing there, and for the first time since Christmas Eve, I felt something close to relief. Because when someone stops lying to themselves, the rest gets very simple. I came back calm. Jenna was sitting at the kitchen table when I walked in. Same glass of wine, same defensive posture, like she'd been waiting for an argument and got annoyed when it didn't show up. Feel better? She asked. Yeah, I said. Turns out driving helps. Roads were fine. She didn't smile. You think you're so clever? She said. No, I replied. I think I'm patient. Big difference. She scoffed. So what now? She asked. You're just going to sit there and punish me with silence? I took off my jacket, hung it carefully. I'm not punishing you, I said. I'm watching you. That's creepy, she snapped. Only if I'm wrong, I replied. She stood up. You don't have proof of anything. I nodded. True, I said. But you're doing a great job providing context. She stared at me. What does that even mean? It means, I said, sitting down, that innocent people don't panic this much. She laughed, sharp and fake. Oh, please, you're projecting. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'm just noticing patterns. She crossed her arms. You're obsessed. No, I said. I'm organized. Her phone buzzed on the table. She grabbed it instantly, too instantly. I raised an eyebrow. Busy night? I asked. It's nothing, she said quickly. Everything you say is nothing, I replied. It's impressive, like a brand. She rolled her eyes. You're exhausting. I keep hearing that, I said. Funny how it only comes up when I ask questions. She looked at me for a long second, then sighed dramatically. Fine, she said. You want honesty? Yes, I said. Let's try it. She sat back down. I went to Mark's, she said flatly. Okay, happy? I nodded. Very, I said. Now continue. She blinked. That's it, she said. Nothing happened. Okay, I said again. That's all you're going to say? She snapped. What do you want me to say? I asked. She leaned forward. You don't even care, she accused. That's not true, I replied. I care very precisely. She laughed bitterly. We talked, we drank. I stayed because of the snow. Mark Snow, I said. Don't be an asshole, she said. I'm being consistent, I replied. She slammed her hand on the table. You pushed me there, she said. You've been distant for months. There it is, I said. The rewrite. It's not a rewrite, she snapped. You stopped trying. I stopped chasing, I corrected. You didn't like that. She shook her head. You don't make me feel desired, she said again. Mark does. I nodded slowly. Good, I said. Then you should be with Mark. She froze. That's not what I said. It is, I replied. Just without subtitles. She stood up, pacing. You're twisting my words. No, I said. I'm listening to them. She stopped and looked at me, eyes narrowed. You're not even angry, she said. That's what scares me. I smiled. Anger is for confusion, I said. I'm past that. She stared at me like she was trying to locate the man she used to control. You're really doing this, she said quietly. Yes, I said. And you know why? She didn't answer. Because you didn't just go to another man's house, I continued. You lied. You blamed the weather. You came home and treated me like I was stupid. She swallowed. I didn't think you'd find out. I chuckled. That's the most honest thing you've said all day. She looked away. You always act superior, she muttered. No, I said. I just stopped negotiating with disrespect. Her phone buzzed again. She didn't grab it this time. We both looked at it. Mark. She exhaled. I don't know what I want, she said. That's fine, I replied. But I know what I won't accept. She looked at me, eyes glassy now. So what? She asked. You're just going to leave? I stood up. Not tonight, I said. Tonight I'm going to sleep. She laughed weakly. You think sleep fixes this? No, I said. Clarity does. I walked past her toward the couch. She followed. You're really throwing us away, she said. I turned. No, I said calmly. You already did. I'm just not picking it back up. She didn't reply, and for the first time since Christmas Eve, she looked small, not guilty, just exposed. I woke up before her. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual was how light everything felt. Not happy, not relieved, just clear. Like a room after you throw out broken furniture you kept just in case. Jenna came out of the bedroom around 9, hair messy, eyes tired. She looked like someone who had rehearsed 3 different speeches and hated all of them. We need to talk, she said. I was pouring coffee. We already did, I replied. This is the aftertaste. She sat down. You're acting like this is over, she said. I turned, leaned against the counter. It is, I said. We're just finishing the paperwork emotionally. She scoffed. You're being dramatic again. I smiled. That's funny, I said. Because yesterday I was cold. Pick a lane. She rubbed her temples. I didn't plan for this, she said. It just happened. Most bad decisions do, I replied. They hate calendars. She looked up. I was lonely, she said. You weren't there for me. I was home, I said. You weren't. That's not what I mean, she snapped. I know, I said. You mean attention, applause, validation, weatherproof desire. She flinched. You think you're so funny. No, I said. I think you underestimate how clear things get when someone stops defending you. She leaned forward. I didn't sleep with him, she said quickly. I nodded. Okay. That's it? She asked. You don't even care if it's true? I care, I said, but it doesn't change anything. Why not? She demanded. Because married people don't have sleepovers they need excuses for, I said. Especially not on Christmas Eve. She opened her mouth, closed it. I stayed because it felt good to be wanted, she said quietly. That's honest, I replied. Late, but honest. She looked hopeful for half a second. So, we can work on this? I shook my head. No. Her face hardened. You're just giving up. No, I said. I'm opting out. She stood up. After everything we've built? You think Mark is the problem? No, I said. Mark is a symptom. Then what's the problem? She asked. I met her eyes. You chose not to come home, I said. And then you chose to make me the problem. She looked away. You didn't fight for me, she muttered. I didn't fight your lies, I corrected. That's not a failure. That's self-respect. I grabbed my jacket. You're leaving? She asked. Yes. Where? I smiled. Somewhere the weather doesn't make decisions for me. I opened the door. One last thing, I added. Next time you need an excuse, don't use nature. It didn't cheat. You did. I stepped out. The air was cold, clean, honest. Later, the messages surfaced. Screenshots, confirmations, apologies dressed as explanations. She tried to paint herself as misunderstood, as lonely, as brave for choosing herself. I didn't argue. I left quietly. She kept the story. I kept my dignity. She used the weather as an excuse. I used the truth as a reason to leave. The divorce wasn't loud. No screaming lawyers, no public breakdowns, just paperwork and silence. Jenna told people we grew apart, that I was cold, that she needed to find herself. I didn't correct her. At the signing, her father shook my hand. I'm sorry, he said quietly. You didn't deserve that. He didn't look at her when he said it. Later, he called me once, just once. You did the right thing, he said. Snow is never an excuse. That was enough. I walked out married once. I walked away clean. And for the first Christmas in years, the weather didn't lie to me. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.